Welcome to the Africa 2100 podcast, the show where we explore the future of business, innovation, and entrepreneurship on the continent. Join us as we dive into real stories, expert insights, and practical strategies to help you build, scale, and succeed. Whether you're a founder, investor, or changemaker, this is your go-to space for ideas that shape the next generation of African businesses. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Africa 2100 podcast. I'm Chudi Obiaya, and today we're talking about something that isn't often discussed, the real, unfiltered truths about starting and running a business. Starting a business always sounds exciting, but what's the reality? What are the untold challenges, and what lessons do real founders wish they knew earlier? To help us unpack this, we have two incredible guests, both doctors. Plame and Petrov. Plamen is an accomplished computer scientist, educator, researcher, and leader who has dedicated his career to tackling the world's most challenging problems through his innovative inventions and technological expertise. Passionate about addressing dysfunctions in the healthcare industry, Plamen has garnered extensive entrepreneurial experience doing so. Plamen's practical, down-to-earth approach to problem-solving makes him one of the people I turn to for insights when in an entrepreneurial bind. Satyender Goel. Satyender is the founder and CEO of India HealthLink, whose groundbreaking HealthPod diagnostic device is revolutionizing the medical diagnostic space. A passionate advocate for healthcare innovation, he serves on advisory boards for multiple healthcare startups. More than just a visionary leader, he's also my partner in crime, the one I regularly commiserate with about all things entrepreneurial. Welcome, gentlemen. Let's dive right in. There are so many myths about starting a business. Some say it's all about passion. Others believe success happens overnight. But what's the truth? So, Plamen, if I may pose this to you, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about starting a business, and what's the reality?
Chudi, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having me here, and it's very exciting to be part of this incredible community and ecosystem. So talking about startups, well, I can share my thoughts. Of course, I'm not necessarily an expert at everything, but I've run into a few things. And probably one of the biggest lessons learned is that starting a business and being in an early stage business is a very non-linear activity. You think that you are going somewhere, and you will have to adjust your path on the way there. And you may actually adjust it that you're going in slightly different directions. And sometimes you actually pivot so that you move in a very different direction. What you discover is that if you have a passion to doing things that are new, that are disruptive, that move fast, that's when you jump in and you start a business. It's not necessarily linear. You will be zigzagging along the way, and the faster you adjust and the more nimble and more efficiently you do it, the more likely it is that you will get to something that is fun and worth it. Every startup is different, but consistently, almost every startup lands somewhere different from where it was intended to go initially.
Thanks, Plamen. Satyender, what were your own expectations before you started your business, and how did the reality compare?
Well, sure. Before that, thanks again, Chudi and Plamen. Nice to be on this stage again. And this very happy to take this question. So, Chudi, the like any other founder, I just start with what the previous question Plamen was replying to. Running a business as an entrepreneur is like diving into a river and swimming against the flow. And in that river, most likely not only that you're running against the flow of the river, but you also don't know what else is in the river. Keeping that in mind, my own journey have not been any different than what everybody else would have been, in the same that it's improvising every day, waking up every day not knowing what the day would turn out to be. I think that's that have been my journey over, I would say, last more than over a decade, running more than one businesses, seeing success, failure, all of it. But one thing which does not change and stay consistent is running a business is, I would say, hardest thing in my experience have been. But at the same time, the passion which was required to run it stayed just to fight with that the the hardships of running it. So in my opinion, without the passion, without being an entrepreneur, I think that's make one entrepreneur's entrepreneur. So that's my in nutshell is the passion which keeps me going.
It's interesting you talk about passion as Satyender, because one of the things that comes to mind is it isn't just about the hustle. It's also an emotional journey filled with highs and lows. And with that in mind, Plamen, based on your knowledge, what are the biggest emotional challenges entrepreneurs typically face, and how do you recommend they navigate?
So there's always a some level of unknown and risk tolerance to the unknown that is critical for a successful entrepreneur. And I just want to be totally transparent here. So I started my career as a working in different companies and larger corporations. So I've not been an entrepreneur all of my life. So with that in mind, starting in a early stage startup or a unknown brings a level of risk of the unpredicted unknowns that I've not been I've not necessarily been accustomed to while working in a larger company. So majority of my experience up to maybe 5 years ago has been is what is called intrapreneurial, creating new opportunities within larger corporations. There's still a lot of unknown, there's still a lot of fun, but it's different. Jumping into the entrepreneurial space brings the extra level of independence and ability to define your own path, but also comes with the extra reality that every day is different and every day can bring new unknowns that you have to figure out. So there's very much a personality trait. Not everybody can be entrepreneur, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not good or bad. It's just different. If you cannot tolerate waking up in the morning and not knowing what the day's gonna bring to you, then you probably shouldn't be an entrepreneur. But if you wake up every morning and you're really excited and passionate that today you're gonna do something new and you're gonna figure out how to address different challenges, then that is the role for you. So it's a lengthy answer, but I think so passion is kind of a little bit passion for finding and fighting new challenges every day. And then everyone has a passion for something we are involved with. So I know, Chudi, you're passionate about bringing entrepreneurial opportunities to young entrepreneurs in Africa. I know that Satyender had a lot of passion for bringing low cost and very advanced healthcare technology to different areas in the world, including India, including Africa too. And I think I also have a passion for healthcare. So I've been in healthcare startup and health tech for a while, and I do believe that technology as applied to solving people's problems in healthcare is something that is important and I'm passionate about. So for many reasons. So you have to have some passion for what you're doing, and that allows you to see things that other people don't see, and keeps you going.
So lots of food for thought there, Plumbing. So Tender, can you share a moment when you felt like giving up? How did you push through, and what kept you going?
Oh wow, wow! I feel like that's the everyday story. Um, it's one thing which I go back to the previous question. Startup Running a startup is an emotional roller coaster with disregard of how you take it, and you need to really build a community around you, community of people who support you, mentors, peers, including external support if you really will. You have to. The thing is, it's not just a saying that it's lonely up there. It is actually true. When you're running a startup, you really need whatever you can take. Find people, friends who you can talk to. Just share. Does not matter. It is part of the startup or not. I feel like I've been there multiple times, and every time I end up pivoting. Right. That's what I said. The passion and zeal that no, and the mentality that this is it. If I had a mentality that no, there is a better way of doing it, or there is a better uh, find something to do something else, or find some alternative way, uh, I probably would have left it. I wouldn't be in business long ago. It's been 10 years in my current startup, and you can imagine how many pivots I don't even count now. I've gone through, and every pivot happened because I reached that level that this may be it. This business may not survive, and so I can talk about single instance, but I feel like the journey never ends, in my opinion.
So many founders often look back wishing they knew certain things before starting. Don't we all? So, Plamen, from your experience being an entrepreneur, working with entrepreneurs, what's one crucial lesson every founder should know before launching their business?
So I'm not sure if there's one thing. And I can tell you that every single day that I was and that I'm in an entrepreneurial environment, I learned something new that I wish I knew before. And I think it's infinite. So I don't think that you can know one thing and learn it. So maybe the one thing is that things will be unpredictable. You have to learn how to think on your feet, and you also probably the one thing you have to know how to kind of go through downtimes and how to motivate yourself sometimes because frequently there will be things that will make you question if you should be doing this, and you have to have the internal power and motivation to convince yourself that you should be doing this. So having that level of thought is important when you start. So otherwise, you can give up pretty quickly.
With that said, Satyender, if you could go back in time, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self before starting your business?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still young, but let's just
Your younger self.
yeah, younger self is in personal opinion. I feel like I am getting younger by saying my knowledge is growing. Yeah, age being no bar, but ideally what I feel is business is a full time, more than what you would define as a full time. So it will take everything to be able to make a business successful, whether it's time, attention, money, whatever you can feel in your life are essential. They all goes into making a business successful. So if I have to think something about, I would have taken more caution towards is you cannot have more distraction. And I've done this mistake early on, that I thought that just I can start something on the side and let it pan out. Probably once it reaches certain level, certain kind of market validation, some people get lucky, but in my experience, the only way to make something really successful, you have to be all in, with full concentration. You can be really building a business on the side, uh, to make it big, or to do justification, to be able to do justice to it.
So every entrepreneur has a defining moment, a challenge that tested them, or a breakthrough that changed everything. Plame, what trends have you observed in how successful entrepreneurs overcome their biggest challenges?
So probably because you're under pressure, under time pressure all the time. Unlike in a large business, you don't have the luxury of having a predictable long-term financial cushion to think through and solve problems. You probably have days to address any unforeseen issue. So being able to resolve and to jump in and solve problems, thinking on your feet, is critical. And also another thing that is critical, in my opinion, is the ability to identify what is the minimum reasonably viable effort and adjustment to do in order to succeed. Kind of a perfect is the enemy of successful in a entrepreneurial and startup environment. You just don't have the luxury of being perfect. You cannot be bad because then nobody's going to want your business. But there is that middle ground that you have to learn and adjust. That is reasonably good, and that is kind of the key thing to success. So, how do I solve the problems by finding that reasonably good solution that will keep me going and solve the problem I currently have to?
Satyender, can you share a defining moment in your journey that shaped your business?
Oh God, again, probably a lot of them. So I'll just share a defining moment for one of my previous startup, which was, so we were well funded. The startup was growing well, and we were one of the, from the technology standpoint, were the only solution which could be useful for a contract which we applied for, and we were fairly certain we are going to get the contract, and that was considered as, it's like if you get one contract from that particular enterprise or a agency, then you are a market. You validated yourself that if they adopt it, then everybody else will follow. And we didn't get the contract, even though we knew that we are the best solution, we are the right solution. We still didn't get the contract because and we got to know after we didn't get the contract because our competitor came and gave them their solution free of cost. Now it is, there is nobody can imagine, including us, that could be even a possibility, and that forced us to shut down our company. Not only shut down the company, we actually had end up selling the company to the same competitors who won the contract. So as a business, of course, it is a startup for us. We didn't have enough leverage to be able to do that. But this goes back to my earlier comment that you're always running against the flow of the river, and you are not only focused on that I have enough strength that I will be able to cross the river. You are actually also have to take care of what else falls into the river which you never planned for. And that was one of those defining moments for us that we couldn't even imagine that can happen with no real fault of us. We end up selling the company to our competitors.
Wow. Disappointing in some of those instances. This has been such an insightful conversation. We've debunked myths, explored the emotional roller coaster of entrepreneurship, and learned invaluable lessons from both expert insights and real-life experiences. Here are some things I heard you all say. I mean, there were just too many to capture, but the highlights were, it's not a straight line. The life of an entrepreneur or the venture you're trying to build, it never moves in a straight line. What you expect is not necessarily what it ends up being. And Satyender rightfully captured that it's like diving into the river and swimming against the tide. Churn on that for a moment. Then Plamen also mentioned that you got to have a high risk tolerance to the unknown. While Satyender reminded us that it's such an emotional roller coaster that requires a support network. So you can't go it alone. Make sure you have a good support network. The last one, which I couldn't help capturing, was the need to think fast on your feet and make quick decisions. Plame reminded us that perfect is the enemy of the good enough. Not just good, good enough. When you're considering this. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear some final words from both of you. Plamen, what's one final piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
So the final piece of advice is that you should feel comfortable and good in yourself. That building something new from scratch is always rewarding and risky, but at the same time tends to be more liberating than being kind of in a more predictable, well predefined path. So feel good about it, and don't despair if you hit some hurdles along the way.
Failure or success in the business, they're both good. So don't be scared taking the leap. As long as you're committed, motivated, and passionate, it's a difficult journey, but it's the equally rewarding one. Even if the business doesn't succeed, there's no other field I know which can accelerate your career more than being an entrepreneur.
What a brilliant way to wrap up the episode. To our listeners, if you found the episode valuable, don't forget to share it with someone who might need to hear this. Subscribe to Africa 2100 podcast on all platforms, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you and goodbye.
That's it for today's episode of the Africa 2100 podcast. If you found value in this conversation, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more insights on building and scaling your startup, stay connected with us. Until next time, keep innovating, keep building, and let's shape the future of African business.